Welcome to the Forward Moves podcast, a place where we talk about all things operations and marketing for your fitness business.
And where we bring on industry-leading guests to help you get the inside scoop.
I'm your host, Ash.
And I'm your co-host, Kira. And let's get into the episode of today. Welcome back to today's episode. Today we have a very special guest with us. She is the co-owner of a women's only gym called Club 94 in Katara, and she is the coach behind Coached by Sec. Welcome, Sequoia Stewart.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I was just saying before we started recording, you've made me really nervous because we're in a studio.
It feels too
feeling very
official.
fresh. It's all right. I'll listen.
Because you have your own podcast that you have as well.
Yeah, very humble set up for us.
Audio only.
Yeah.
You come into like the full
right.
lighting cameras. Yeah. No, you'll be fine. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I am keen to get into your story because I know it, but Kira doesn't.
No,
This
not
is a common
completely.
theme.
Yeah,
Podcast.
Ash knows everything.
It is a common theme. Like
everything.
I feel like it's so exciting for me because I'm like, oh my God, I get to learn a brand new story. And Ash is like, oh, I know most of it. But then the guests sometimes throw some big curveballs. And Ash is like, I didn't know any of this. How have you not told me this? So for the listeners and myself, tell us a little bit about your story, how you got to where you were. Let's find out a little bit more about you.
Beautiful. So, as you guys mentioned, I'm the co-owner of Club 94, which was previously the PT Centre. So the PT Centre was operating for around 4.5 years. And so very similar structure in the sense of it was still a women's gym. We still had our physical location. And then we recently went through our rebrand, which you guys helped us out with.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been operating as Club 94 alongside my business partner, Ebony, up until then. But before that, I was working out of different commercial gyms in Sydney. And then, wait, should I go all the way back?
However far you want to go.
Okay, all right. So pre-PT Centre, I was working out of commercial gyms in Sydney. I've worked at a couple of different commercial gyms and I was still running my own PT business at the time. But what initially got me into the fitness industry, I was actually at uni studying psychology. I went to uni because all my friends were going to uni. I didn't actually really know if I wanted to be a psychologist or if that was the route that I wanted to go down, but it just felt like, oh, this is what all my friends are doing. Like they're at uni. That seems so much fun. So I was 2 years into my degree and I was working in hospitality and I was kind of getting over the hospitality industry. I was like, I want a job that I enjoy whilst I'm at uni. And at the time I was kind of just getting into fitness. I had a really good friend of mine, Amber, who owns the Cobalt Club now, which is a really successful gym in New Zealand. She was really pushing me to post on socials, post my fitness content. And I started to do that, started to get like a little bit of traction back then. And I was like, look, I'm going to do my PT certificates so I can be a PT whilst I'm at uni. And I did that. And then I decided, oh, wait a minute, I want to do this full time. I want to move to Sydney. So at the time I was living in Newcastle. And there was a job opportunity at UFC Gym in Blacktown here in Sydney. And I drove from Newcastle to the interview, had the interview, and the owner was like, look, I really want to hire you, but you don't actually even live in Sydney. Like, how do you plan on figuring this out? I was like, oh, that's all right, I'll move. Like, if you're going to give me the job, I'll move. So he gave me the job and then I moved in with a friend and I moved to Sydney from Newcastle, which at the time I was in my early 20s. So it was quite a big jump. I didn't know many people in Sydney. It was a complete new career for me. So I did that for a couple of years and then it was lockdown that took me back to Newcastle. So I didn't have a job. Gyms were shut. I moved back to Newcastle. I was seeing a guy at the time and he was like, you can live with me, blah, blah, blah. And I made that decision to move back. And then when gyms started to be able to reopen, do you guys know what Storage King is?
Yeah.
The storage sheds. So we had a little gym set up in there. And I started
People had to come to the storage shed.
Yes. So that's where we were training. Like we were doing our gym sessions.
Yeah.
And we asked the reception, at Storage King, like, can we start just bringing some people to train here? And he was just really relaxed. He was like, yeah, sure. So I started advertising PTs out of the storage shed. And I'm talking like tiny little storage
shed. They can be so small.
Yeah. So that was
she's an icon.
Yeah.
So I started to, funnily enough, I guess there was not much around at that time, but get quite busy. And the women said to me then, oh, we just love, obviously, that we can come here and we just have to put makeup on. We can just like get our session done and, you know, get it done. And that kind of like sparked the idea of, okay, when gyms do officially reopen, I would like a space where I can continue that.
Yep.
So gyms reopened. We were able to do group training and face-to-face. And so I opened up a small like 60 square just PT studio and I started doing one-on-ones. And then it wasn't long after that I made the decision that, okay, I want to expand this thing. I want to be able to do group training because I couldn't do group training in that space. And then opened the space that I still have today, 5 years.
Amazing.
5 years on.
Love
5 years
that.
later.
Yeah.
I love that. In a storage shed.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Literally from the ground up.
Yeah, and when you decided that, like, people started saying, like, oh, it's just so good to be in a space and, like, it's, like, female, I'm not thinking about anything. It was at the point that you were like, oh, my God, there's actually no, like, female gym that also doesn't focus on just, like, the generic, like, Les Mills classes and things like that, like, actual, like, strength training classes and things like that.
For sure. That just sparked that idea when the members were saying that. I was like, you know what, this could be a real thing. Like, I don't know of anyone that's doing this with this particular training style that I offer, which is mostly just strength training and resistance training. So, yeah, that definitely sparked that idea for sure.
Yeah, saw the gap in the market.
Yeah.
And so
100%.
for those who don't know Club 94, what training is it?
So if you hire an online coach, they'll more than likely give you a 4 to 6 week training block. You'll focus on progressive overload. You'll focus on technique in week 1 and you'll try and progress over the training block. So we really try and emulate exactly that in a group training setting, which is quite unique because most group training centers, it's new workouts every single day. It's more of a circuit style where we really try and emulate exactly what you would do in a one-on-one or what you would do with an online coach, but in a group setting, and still try and make it fun. Like, we still have our circuit days and our cardio days and everything like that, but it is our structured training blocks. We have a really, really big focus on technique, and it is majority resistance training and strength training aside from the cardio days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cardio days are hard at your gym, hey?
Oh, yeah, like really hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I always see the girls like telling you to F off online. So with Club 94, I want to go back to the PT Centre days because that's where we were introduced.
Yes.
You came on board with us first year in or something like that?
Yeah, it would have been, first or second year in, quite early.
Yeah, it was very early. And you owned that with your partner.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was it like being in a relationship and running a business together?
Well, it was quite hard. And yeah, to be honest, I was doing most of it.
Yeah.
So I felt like, we made the decision to go into partnership to make that expansion and made that decision together. But business is stressful, full stop. And then adding in a relationship on top of that. And then also when one person is doing like 99.9% of the work, it was challenging. Yeah. And it definitely did put a strain on the relationship that perhaps wouldn't have happened in the same way if the business wasn't there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And did you find, like, because it was a female-only gym, was it a little bit weird having a male co-owning it?
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, really. Like, now that I have Ebony, it makes so much sense, and we just work so well together, and having two female owners who are best friends, who have the same passion, just makes so much more sense, where it was just like the load was just all on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so obviously you broke up.
Yeah.
And then what was that kind of situation with the PT Centre? So was there not a lot of clarity around what was going to happen, or?
No, not at all. So it was a complete and utter mess, to say the least. So at the time we actually had 2 locations. So we had a Beresfield location that had been open for a year, and then we had Katara that had been open for 3 to 4 years. And all of those assets and having the 2 businesses together and then making the decision to go through that breakup was really, really stressful. And it's what actually kept me in the relationship for a really long time, is because he would kind of hold that over me. Like, what are you going to do about the business? You know, all that side of things. So when I made the decision to leave, made the decision that we were going to sell the Beresfield property, close that gym, and then I was going to continue to operate Katara. But that process took like 12 months. So yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
And then as well, when I like, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically you were operating the PT center, and that was like the agreement that you guys would just stay partners in the business.
Yeah, initially that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
And then let's say probably 8 months into that, I'm like, this is not working. It's not sustainable. How the hell is this going to happen? We're exes. I'm still doing absolutely everything. You know, when you're in a relationship, it's kind of a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it's like, what's the point in, like, you know, eventually one of us is going to have another partner, or, you know, we're going to move in separate ways in life. We can't still have this business together. So it was really hard, but I honestly just stood my ground and said, like, this is what's happening. Like, I am rebranding. We are essentially closing that company, and Ebony's buying into the business. PT Center is done. And for so long, I didn't know what that would look like, because I always thought that I needed to hold on to the PT Center, the name of the PT Center. And I was like, I can't get rid of that. Like, that's what I've built for 4 years.
Like, people know you, and it's like your baby.
Yeah. And it actually wasn't until I was in Europe with Ebony and one of our coaches at the time, and she said, Sequoia, why don't you just close it and just open another gym? And I was like, sounds so simple, but I didn't think of that, because I was thinking, how can I keep the PT Center without him? I was like, I can just close it, and I can just,
Yes.
She's like, people come there to see you and to see the brand, and, you know, it's still going to be the same service, but it's just not the same. It's not the same company.
Yeah. So basically you just completely shut him out.
Yeah.
It's like, so yeah, you closed a business and then just open up a new one.
Just open up another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes it logistically so much cleaner. Hey?
Yeah, 100%. Like, just rather than like Ebony coming into an existing company, it's like, okay, we will open a new company together. PT Center is done. Let's, like, Kurt and I can sort that as well. It's also not so messy bringing her in on a business that's been so messy for so long. But yeah, it made so much more sense. And as soon as I had that, I was like, oh, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Rebrand is on.
Yeah. What made you choose Club 94?
So we were trying to think of a name. Thinking of a business name is so hard. Me and Ebony were driving around and we were just looking at random objects. It would be like sign gym, like camera fitness, book gym.
Just doing like word association games.
The name. And then we parked up at Bar Beach in Newcastle, and we were just like looking over the water, like, all right, come on, let's just really think about this. And we knew that we wanted like club or society or some kind of like,
community.
Yeah, community word. Like, okay, we know we want that. And then we're both born in 1994. And I think like one of us just said like 94 Club or Club 94. And we're like, that actually sounds cool. Like, it has a little bit of a ring to it. Aesthetically, we could picture it and like it would look good, and we were just like, let's go with that.
Sick. I had a feeling, I was like, I wonder if they're both born in 94.
Yeah. But then as the business ages, everyone knows how old we are.
But I think so many brands have like EST, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, nah. And then you could be like, oh, wow, they've been running since. Like, it just looks like you've been open since 94.
Make me really old. A lot of our members are really young, and they've asked us like, what does 94 mean? Like, we're born in 94. Yeah. All right, moving on.
But like even like 24-year-olds these days were born in 2000.
2001.
That's scary.
Ew.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah.
So when you shut down the business and started Club 94, you had to start everything new, hey? Like
everything. You don't realize how much is involved in that. Yeah.
It's not just the simple like changing over. It's like shut down banks, new banks, shut down zero, new zero, everything.
Yep. Absolutely everything.
That would have been bad. Did you have to pay staff out when you shut down the business and start again?
Well, because we still kept the same staff, we just made the agreement any leave would just go over to the new company. Obviously, like we didn't need to do that. Essentially, you know, that's out of goodwill, but they were good staff. We wanted to do that. So we just transferred over any leave, kept the same staff. But there's so many, honestly, if I started to think about how many things that is to change over a business or to do a rebrand. You guys have done it before. So much.
So much more than people
much.
think.
Even just like little things like our PT Minder, like switching all of the apps and the systems over, like everything. There's PT Center all over the friggin' walls. Like, let's paint that shit, get rid of that.
And now we're moving you to another platform.
Yeah. God damn it.
I like were looking at our Zero the other day, and James was like, "Why does it say MA Services?" And I was like, "Oh no."
And I still to this day still find little things. I'm like, fuck, that still says PT Center.
Yeah.
It
can't
pops up
erase
randomly,
it.
and you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I think even my
frustrating.
payslip said it for a while.
Yeah,
and I was like,
he was looking at payslips because James does Zero now for us. And he was like, "Why does it say MA?" And I was like, "I don't know."
yeah. And then
there's so
because
many
like
little
I was
things.
applying for a rental and I like said what I worked for and then I sent them my payslips and it said MA and I was like, I hope they're not like, who do you work for?
You're lying.
But yeah, I feel like just things pop up out of
Yeah.
nowhere. It
Yeah,
would be so
even
hard.
a couple of weeks ago on PT Minder, because we kept the same PT Minder but just changed everything over. I was on the website and like I was clicking through as if I was a client, and then when you come to the homepage of PT Minder, which is the app that we use for booking systems, it still said PT Center. I was like, "Fuck, how long has that been there for?" Like, I thought we got rid of everything. Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm curious to know what it's like being a co-owner.
Yeah.
Do you like? Because I only know solo owning.
Yeah.
So what's it? Do you love it or?
Yeah, so I felt like when I was in business with my ex, I was the sole owner for sure. But having, number one, someone to bounce ideas off, like Ebony and I are on the phone all day, every day, and like 90% of the conversation is about business. When little things pop up, you feel like you have someone to lean on. You feel like they get it. They're in the same position, and they also have the same responsibility and the same stress that you have, which is really nice to be able to share that.
Misery loves company.
Yeah. But then particularly in a service-based business like what we have, knowing that when I'm not there, there's still an owner there, and there's like Ebony is still there overseeing things, just feels really nice, rather than I just always felt like all the pressure was on me and like I needed to be there all the time and I needed to do everything, where now that role is shared. And, you know, we've been working with Ash over the past couple of months to define our roles, which has been quite a challenge, but I feel like we're slowly getting there. And as we start to separate things, I feel so much less stress because there's certain jobs that I don't have to think about at night.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's Ebony's job. Same for her. We're not having to go, oh, did this happen? Did you follow this person up? It's like, that's your job. This is my job. There's my stress halved, hopefully.
Then you go and change roles on me.
Yeah, I know. We just decided I'm better marketing. Lately.
We defined the roles, and then I like added Eb in the chat, and she was like, "Oh no, that's Sequoia's job now." I was like, "What is happening?"
Because Ebony is really good at having difficult conversations with staff or like the HR side of things. I was like, why don't you can be that and operations. And I love the social media side of things and marketing. And I've also got a little bit more of an eye of it rather than like completely trying to teach Ebony from scratch, because she's come from not being in the fitness industry whatsoever. She worked for the government. So she's like learning from the ground up, which is a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But
There's definitely a lot more like operations based, a lot more strength to that.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
What are the difficulties of being a co-owner? Like the struggles, I guess you could say.
I honestly, in my situation, I haven't come across any at the moment, but I could imagine that if let's say if I had an idea and Ebony didn't like the idea, or if I wanted to go in one direction of the business and she didn't want to go in that direction, but we've been friends for like 15 years and we traveled Europe together 6 weeks successfully. So that's always a test on the friendship. We have a really good communication style where we're able to just say whatever we feel and we don't, neither of us gets hurt, or we've never really been in that position. I'm sure that maybe there might be later on in the business, but at the moment we're on the same page and we have the same vision for the brand, and we're both able to like pick up each other's slack a little bit. Like at the moment, Ebony's got some really intense like family problems going on the past couple of days. So I've just been doing, little jobs that she would normally be doing. And I know that, and she called me today and she's like, I just feel like I'm a bit detached, like I'm a bit stressed. I'm like, look, there's going to be weeks where I have a bad week and I need to have an off week, and then I know that you'll pick up the slack there. So yeah.
Do you feel like it's super important that even though when you do split roles that you are across the other person's roles at the same time?
Yeah, the defined roles is great, and I'm like, I feel really good about it, but I just feel like we will always cross over and chat about certain things, and that's just like, it's what we talk about all day, every day. So I can't imagine it not still having a little bit of a crossover for sure.
You have to know it for sure. How difficult was it? Like, obviously I know, but like with the closure and resetting the new business, like, was it more difficult retaining customers and building that business back up again than you actually thought it was going to be?
Yeah, for sure. And so being completely honest, when I was going through the breakup, a lot of the time I just had like my head in the sand. Is that the right saying? When it comes to certain things in the business, because I was going through a really, really challenging time, you know, making that decision to leave. And, you know, I was in a very like not a really good place whatsoever. And I had to move from Newcastle to Sydney away from my business. And a lot of people say like, why did you do that? Oh my God, I can't believe you moved away from your business. But the relationship that I was in, that was the only option, is to just be like away. And I don't regret that decision at all. And I felt so safe as soon as I did that. And I still live in Sydney now, and I make that commute. And so many people ask me, like even this morning, I had a guy ask me like, oh my God, do you really drive back and forth? I'm like, yeah, because number one, I had to make that decision back then, but I love Sydney and I love being in like a big city that people are doing things. I feel so inspired here. I do in Newcastle to a degree, but I'm also from there, went to school there, but that's where my business is. So for me to be truly happy, I get to have the best of both worlds, I feel.
Yeah. Do you think it's an important thing to do in life is like move away from where you grew up?
I think so. Yeah, for sure. And so like I told you guys, pre-COVID, I lived in Sydney for 3 years. And the experiences that I had in the fitness industry, the people that I met, I wouldn't have got that if I just started my business in Newcastle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I was coached by Hattie. I was trained by Australian Strength Coach. I was going to seminars there. I was meeting a lot of people and getting that knowledge and that experience that I 100% wouldn't have happened if I didn't move from Newcastle to Sydney.
Yeah.
And even though it's 2 hours, like everyone, if you know, Newcastle and Sydney are two completely different places.
Newcastle's so small.
Yeah.
So small.
How often do you do that commute?
So at the moment, I'll go back to Newcastle on a Sunday night. I'll be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I'll come back.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
I was recently talking to somebody about like when I was thinking of moving back to the Gold Coast, like from Brisbane, like North Brisbane, and we were trying to find a place that was like between work, between the coast and things like that. And I was like, oh, just to make like my trip to the office like a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why would I move somewhere and be further away from like what I want my lifestyle to look like on the weekends when that's my spare time away from work? And so I feel like there's such a big benefit in thinking like, don't build your life around your workplace, like build your life around your lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And even like last week, I had a freak out and was like, oh my God, I'm going to move back to Newcastle because we were having like some staffing issues. And I was like, you know, maybe I just need to be there. I'm just going to move back, post it on Instagram. Like, who wants to take over my lease? I'm going to take over. I'm moving back. And then luckily no one took it. But I had exactly those thoughts. I'm like, when I'm in Sydney, I'm so happy. I go on a different walk every weekend. I can go to a different cafe, go to a different restaurant, and I feel so happy. My mental health is so good when I'm there. God forbid I have to drive, you know, a couple of hours a week to be able to do that. I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's
good.
massive.
Definitely.
How did you find the transition of going from a coach to gym owner?
I've said this before, but at the end of the day, I was a 25-year-old who I'd had, you know, a little bit of business experience running a PT business, very, very minimal. And, you know, making that decision to open the PT center, there was a couple of weeks where, you know, a couple of members, but then it blew up quite quickly. And I didn't have the skills or the knowledge of how to run a company. That's what we were, a company by then. And I have made so many mistakes. There's so many things I'm like, oh, I wish I did differently. But I'm also someone who learns the hard way. And I feel like I wouldn't have the knowledge and the lessons that I have now if I didn't just jump straight into it, because I had genuinely no idea what I was doing. I was just winging it.
There's no way to plan it though. What are some of the hardest things that you've really struggled with?
I guess just like the operation side of things, of just knowing what apps to use, how to onboard a new staff member, what happens when a staff member leaves, contracts for clients when they come on as a member, like just all of those things that you initially don't think of as like, oh, I'm going to start doing group classes, everyone. Yeah, you post it on Instagram. It's like, wait a minute. How am I actually, yeah. And then, you know, we still to this day have a big focus on community. So planning community events, like there was just so much to think of, and you don't know until something pops up and it's like, oh, wait, I don't know how to do this, or Yeah,
in a way, do you feel like those who are online coaches, do you feel like because it can be a bit of an easier business to run, right? Because it's just you and the business.
for sure.
Do you think that like people looking to go into a gym environment or to start owning a company, they should have a lot of conversations first before doing it?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It'd be so scary.
Oh, so scary. And even just down to the little details of like how to run a successful class. We're currently writing a training module for our new staff members, and I started to like really, really go into the details of like, you know, when you first come in, you need to be there, smiling, all that side of things. When the warm up is on, there needs to be a certain type of music. As soon as you finish your demo, the music needs to go up straight away. Like there's no break in between. Like there's so many like little details of how to run a perfectly successful class where there's no awkward moments, where your tone of voice is right. There's enough coaching as well as just having conversations about what did you do on the weekend. Like there's so much that goes into it, and that's just like one class. And when I was writing it, I was like, it really is more intricate than what people would think.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the moment when I'm in Sydney, I go to different group training sessions here. I go to different dance classes and things like that. And I'm always looking at it from a business lens. And there's just so many little things that I pick up on. I'm like, oh, this is really awkward now. Like, or like just little things like that.
I feel like being able to pick up on that attention to detail would really set you apart from people who are probably just like, yep, cool, run a class.
Yeah, for sure. And like I can feel sometimes when I'm like, oh, that class was like a little bit off. But perhaps the members might not notice, but I can really notice when like the flow was off a little bit.
Yeah.
How long are your classes?
At the moment, they're an hour.
That's good.
So we started off 45 minutes, then we went 50 minutes, then I went, fuck it, we need an hour. So now they're an hour. Yeah.
And what's your max in your classes?
22.
22.
Yeah. Yep. And so
that's so small.
Is it good? Yay.
Like that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So that,
How many coaches do you have like per class?
So we always have 2 coaches on, except for the afternoons, because we normally have like less than 12 of an afternoon. But the busier classes, we always have 2 coaches on. And that is a big part of our service, is we give as much one-on-one time as we possibly can. And you struggle to do that on your own with 22 people. There's some gyms that have 40 people and they have 1 coach on. I'm like, I don't know how
that's crazy.
anyone gets anything done. But yeah, we like to call it a premium service, and it's because you get that one-on-one time.
Yeah, it's the quality of it.
Yeah.
Like the cost of service would be higher, but the quality's there.
Yeah. And there's been instances when we were really, really, really busy. There's one trial week where we had 50 people coming in for trials, and I upped the numbers. I was like, we're going to have to do 30 per class. And the conversion rate of those trials, rubbish.
Because it wasn't
the
what
service
your classes
wasn't
are
there.
actually
And I,
like.
they were scrambled. The coaches were scrambled. I was scrambled. There was like not enough plates, and there's just like it just didn't work. So that was the lesson there.
Sorry, you go.
Yeah. I guess the lesson was, don't do that ever again.
Do you have like a thing with the girls, like your coaches, like you have to go to a member per lesson, every member in the lesson?
Yeah, we try and say make sure you should be able to see every single member. You've got an hour, you can definitely go around to every single person.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I want to jump into online coaching.
Yep.
Because you obviously run a very successful online coaching business. I want to know around the impact of being a pro athlete. So for those who don't know, you're an FMG pro. But do you think competing has helped or not?
Ooh. Okay, so numbers wise, when you look at it from a business perspective, yes, it does. When you're in comp prep, and any coach who is in comp prep will agree with this, the interest in your coaching goes up. People love following along on that journey. They look up to that side of things. But also for the way that I coach, particularly in Club 94, it's very flexible. I feel like I'm going to say a soft coach, but it's like it's more flexible. It's more of a lifestyle side of things where obviously competing is not. It's you need to be 100% on.
Yeah.
So I always felt a little bit conflicted with that. And even when I would go in and coach at Club 94, when I was in comp prep, when I was like really, really lean, I used to try and like wear like long sleeve or like, because I didn't like when the girls would compliment and say, oh my God, like you look amazing, because I'm like, you don't want this.
Like you're trying not to like glamorize
exactly
it.
Right. Yeah. And you know, I know that they look at that and think, oh my God, that's what I want to do. But I'm like, I'm doing 6 days a week of an hour of cardio. I'm eating nothing. I'm so tired. I'm so fatigued. My skin's breaking out. And I always felt like a little bit conflicted. And still to this day, I do feel a little bit conflicted, and I'm still not 100% if I will compete because of the vision that I have for Club 94. But when I've had online coaching clients who have been interested in competing, I immediately jump on a call and I just say, this is what it is. Are you prepared to, in the plainest way possible, be told that you're not good enough because your waist isn't small enough, but the girl standing next to you, her waist was really, really small, so she's better than you in this setting. And when I say it like that, they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can deal with that, because competing can have some really serious implications on women's mental health and the way that they see their bodies. And I have a really strong relationship with my body and with food, and it's still had its implications on me. So I just always try to be really honest and upfront and just educate women on this is the reality of it, rather than, oh yeah, just let's do a comp prep, or you can do this.
I think that's so important to prep people in that way. I don't think I've heard it said like that before. Like, are you ready to be subjectively judged on stage purely on how you look?
They don't know your story. They don't know what you've gone through to get to stage. They don't know.
They don't care.
They don't care. But that's just the sport. And I still have a positive relationship with competing, and it brought me a lot of great things. And I really love the person that I am when I am in prep. I'm, super driven. I have a goal, and I really like that. But that's not the common story. That's not what it's like for every woman whatsoever.
Yeah. Do you have comp prep clients that you
So I've had one comp prep client before who she works for Club 94, Olivia, and she placed 9th in her first show. And I have one client who's going to be doing transformation.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's
so it's not something that I
exciting.
advertise or something that I'm really passionate about doing. If I had like a long-term client who had been with me for a couple of years, we've done build phases, cut phases, I would consider it. But someone new coming to me, I would decline. Yeah. But transformation, I'm really excited for her to do that, because she's like the competing side of things, but she's had an incredible weight loss journey, and I'm just really excited for her to be able to share that and get on stage.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it is
That's
exciting.
so good.
Yeah.
What made you choose FMG as a federation over the others?
Just the age-old answer of Rachel Dillon and Lauren Simpson.
Yeah?
Yeah. I originally, because my first show was 2017, and the coach that I was with at the time, she was getting me to do like ICN or I don't know, one of those other federations. And then my friend Amber, who I spoke about before, she was coached by Rachel Dillon at the time. That was when Rachel Dillon did coaching, and she was doing FMG, and she showed me her nutrition plan. Actually, that's what really got me. And it was flexible dieting. And I was like, oh my God, I'm eating like beef mince and rice and fish and asparagus for the last 10 weeks. Like maybe I am interested in this side of coaching. And I ended up switching to Tamara Meyer, who was a coach at the time. And then that's when I kind of started following Rachel Dillon, Lauren Simpson, and I just ended up 5 weeks out, I made the switch. I was like, oh, I'm actually going to do WBFF at the time.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a big switch to make.
Yeah.
I would have been hectic
I'm not
learning the
doing this
new
anymore.
posing
Yeah.
5 weeks out.
Yeah. I didn't want to know what my posing was like. Also, there wasn't so much pressure back then. It was kind of, you could just get out there and just like,
It's become
second
a
place,
huge
go.
thing now.
Yeah.
Hey?
Oh,
massive.
thing.
Yeah.
But you're a posing coach
Yeah.
too. You do
Yeah.
posing. Yeah.
yeah, I actually really love the posing side of things.
Yeah.
And love posing coaching.
Is it the hardest part of prep?
I guess it depends who you are. I've been a dancer before. I really love the performance side of things, but if you've never done anything like that before, oh yeah, it's the hardest part of prep, 100%. Like I'm working with a girl now who is competing next week, and we've been working together for a year, and that's like, it's because she had just never done anything like it, and we had to start from like the ground up, but her posing has come a really long way. But yeah, if you've never done anything like that, it's really,
Your brain explodes.
Yeah.
Like if you've never done anything
for sure.
about it before.
Yeah, and like you said, it's getting more and more, there's more and more pressure with the posing side of things. There's so many different posing schools, and yeah, there's a lot of pressure for sure.
How much do you spend per prep? If you don't mind
Per
me
prep?
asking. Yeah.
I've never calculated it, and I wouldn't want to know, but tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So the last look that you did was so good.
Yes.
So
I didn't
good.
like it, apparently. The judges didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah, they said, I liked your blue bikini better. I felt like, I don't know, I can't remember what they said, but they didn't like it.
It was definitely a crowd favorite.
Yeah. Well, they tell you, they give you a list of all the different judges, but yeah. Yeah. didn't like it.
Damn.
I know.
Yeah, see, you've got to think about that
I
as well. Like,
know.
are you ready to look incredible? And then them go, I didn't like your
Yeah,
suit.
that's right. Yeah. And
That's
something that I
rough.
struggle to understand is people who put so much money and effort into competing and they're not a coach. Because, like, as a coach, you get benefits from it.
Yeah.
But if you're putting tens and thousands of dollars into competing and, like, if that's just all that you get out of it, I struggle to understand why you'd keep going back and spending so much money.
Yeah. So, like, does a part of you do it because you know
Yeah,
business wise it's going to be really good for you?
Yeah,
as
for
well?
sure. Yeah.
Do you find, because as you said, you've got a really good relationship with prep.
Mm.
Do you find that people that are in it for the wrong reasons are the ones that struggle the most?
For sure. Or
Yeah.
people who initially have a poor relationship with food or a poor relationship with their body. And that's a conversation that I've had with one of my clients before. And I'm like, we're trying to work through certain things surrounding your relationship with food now. Like, do you think that that's going to get better when you do a comp prep? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely something I had to relearn after is like you've seen yourself that small.
And
it's
for sure.
so hard to unlearn seeing yourself look like that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And like even thinking like that what people will think, like, oh, she's gained all this weight. It's
Yeah.
like, no, you just look normal again.
Yeah. And then it's hard to think like, oh no, I look normal.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a while to adjust, honestly.
And you're
It
like,
really
oh,
does.
this is a normal
Yeah.
size. Like
Yeah.
it's so hard in your brain. I can't even
But
explain.
a huge reason why. So I did 2 back-to-back shows. I did 2020, won my pro card, and then did the pro show straight after. And thinking back, a lot of it was because I was really unhappy in my relationship and I just wanted something to focus on for me. And so prep was an outlet. And when I ended up leaving my ex, I thought I was 5 weeks out, but I looked back on photos. I was actually 3 weeks out from comp, and I moved to Sydney, and I still did the show.
That's insane.
That's hectic.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I just lost my question.
I'm sorry. I
was
think
about
I
to
spoke
ask
over
something.
you.
Don't you hate that?
I know. There's nothing worse.
I
It
literally do
happens
it all the
sometimes.
time.
And you're
I
trying to grab it. It's like,
I think I need to get my brain health checked. Like, I just forget.
no, I
all
think
the
that's normal.
time now.
That's normal.
I was about to ask you something and it's driving me nuts that I can't
Was
figure
it about
out
prep?
what it was.
Prep,
It was.
yeah.
That's it.
Okay. we got
Do
it.
you think, like, realistically, can you run a successful business and prep at the same time and be like that constant athlete?
It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about just your time schedule, you've got to fit in posing, cardio, training, all that side of things, and then as well run your business. It definitely took a toll on the PT Centre when I was in comp prep because you've got less time on your hands and you're so focused on your specific goal that some things have got to slip, and quite often it can come from your business.
Yeah.
For sure.
And, like, are you kind of at the stage in your life now where you're not really willing to make that sacrifice?
Yeah. I'm like, when would I fit that in? When
Yeah.
am I happy to dedicate 6 months of just purely focusing on this as random aesthetic goal?
Yeah,
Just like,
really.
to put it plainly, it's like, I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like, yes, it can give you business, but
Yeah.
it can also lose you
Yeah.
business
And
as
like you said
well.
before, is it the right type of clientele that you're attracting? And like I said, of, having those polarizing thoughts of, is this the image that I want to put out? Yeah, I guess you just have to make that decision. But yeah, I don't know.
You know how you said like there's a lot of eyes and numbers on your profile. I'm curious to know, like, were these minimum commitment clients, were they like clients that came on and dropped off?
Yeah.
So like you got a lot of traction, but it wasn't quality.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've had this conversation with Tay, my housemate. She's done 2 back-to-back shows and she said the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Just goes
Pretty
to
common.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. But you also do business mentoring, don't you?
Not so much anymore. I've got 2 business mentoring clients.
Yeah. Just didn't like it.
So I originally opened that up because I had a girl reach out to me who wanted to open up a women's gym in Darwin or something. She was a long way away in Australia. And she just asked, like, can I pay to jump on a call and, you know, I can pick your brain about certain things. I was like, sure. And then she didn't end up going through with it. But then it was like a certain, I don't know if it was what content I was putting out, but I just had girls reaching out to me and asking questions. And so I ended up putting together a service and I do enjoy it. But for my mental capacity for my own business, I'm not advertising for it and not putting that out there because I do get quite invested in it.
Yeah.
And I think I need to put my own business first at the moment.
It's so hard, hey?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you go. I'm just waffling over here.
I want to touch on how you have the community vibe gym and you're really big on giving back to the community. I want to talk about like the charities and things that you also give back to.
Yeah.
If you want to
Yeah, beautiful.
about that as well.
So when we were PT Centre, we did charity work sporadically. Like we would run like a 10 class pass and then give that money to women's shelters. We went and did a little bit of work at the women's shelters, so they got us to run a little circuit for women who had been experiencing domestic violence, and they came there and they really enjoyed it. So we did a little bit of charity work when it was PT Centre, but Ebony and I have our own experience with domestic violence and it's something that we're really passionate about, and we thought, how can we incorporate that into our business and make that a reoccurring thing? So at the moment, each month we just pick a different charity, and last month we had Got Your Back Sister, and we just got the girls to donate clothes. They had to be like good quality clothes, particularly they wanted like business wear and things that women could wear to work, and then we just take it to the location. And I feel really, really good doing that, and I wish that I had done a little bit more of it during the PT Centre, but yeah, that's the way that we're doing it at the moment.
I love that
Yeah.
so much.
So at the moment we're doing Jenny's Place, and we just reach out to them and we ask, like, what do you need? What do you guys need? And they said, oh, look, a lot of the women feel empowered when they can buy their own things. So just little gift cards, like a $10 or $20 gift card for Kmart, Coles or something like that. And then they gift it to the women so then they can go to the shopping centre and they can buy their own things. So that's what we're doing at the moment.
I love that so
Yeah.
much.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
Do you think it's important with community to give back in order to receive good community?
Yeah, for sure. And I think as a business, particularly these days, if you're not thinking about little ways that you can give back, I'd be questioning myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that it's a monthly incentive and it's something that you don't publicize much.
Not
hey?
much. It's more of like an in-gym. So we just have our front screen, and then Ebony does a talking video into our Facebook group.
Do you like have any, I guess it's controversial, but do you have any views against publicizing charity work?
Yeah,
or-
we've spoken about this quite a lot because we're like, we would love to put that message out there and, you know, publicize it a little bit more. And we've done one reel and we were just like, Sabrina was filming it. I was like, oh, that's enough. Yep, just a little bit. We just felt a little bit icky doing it, which I don't know. You can think of it one or two ways. And I think it's how you do it, and as long as it's tasteful and what the actual intent is behind it. So for us, we just wanted to show that this is a location in Newcastle that you can go and you can take items to, but it can definitely get a little bit icky.
Yeah. Yeah. I think charity is something that you kind of do without mentioning it to anyone.
Yeah.
Which is,
sure.
it's kind of weird because it's like you want more people to help that.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's just,
But you don't want people to think that you're like showboating about like,
Yeah.
I'm doing all of this, or like thinking that like
yeah.
I'm better than you. Or, like,
And I think like if I saw a business posting that, I would think that's great. But like the general population thinks that you're doing it to
So you can talk
so
about
you
it.
can get recognition for it. But it's like we understand, like that's great. You know,
Maybe we just need to start normalizing it more. And then it'll become a more normal thing that everybody's like, oh no, they're just doing it because they want to help.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And I think just like how often you mention it, or you know, if you're just flogging it on your socials constantly, like we're doing this,
It starts to
Like,
seem a
okay,
bit weird.
all right.
Like have it on the website at the very bottom.
Yeah.
Little like tagline.
And with the girls in the class, like I know that the Club 94 is a really safe space for the girls, but do you find that donating to these charities allows them to bring up conversations with you guys or to have feel safer in the space?
Yeah, and particularly our podcast is we've done 2 episodes surrounding domestic violence, and sadly the amount of members who have come up to us in class or at community events and just said thank you so much for putting that episode out there. You know, I was in a relationship that I didn't, you know, I saw certain signs but I didn't realize, like you labeling like this is what it is. It was really, really helpful. Even women have said that, oh, my sister is in a violent relationship. So it definitely opens up the conversations, and I think that's what we're trying to do, is to open up that conversation so our members have a safe space and they feel like that they can talk to us about it, because otherwise we're just the 2 co-owners of Club 94 that come in and we laugh and we coach the classes, and you don't know any depth behind us or any of our story. So having the podcast platform, I found, has been really, really good for that.
I feel like that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That
It
gets
needs
more
to
than
be
just
more.
classes.
Yeah.
I kind of want to touch on this topic because obviously like you're quite liberated with your body and you do a lot of dancing classes, and now you and Eb actually teach the girls these classes.
So much fun.
So from, I guess, again, from the outside looking in, people could definitely have a judgment on that.
For sure.
But where's it coming from? Like, what's the intent behind it?
Yeah.
How do you feel liberated when you do it?
Yeah, I love this question. Thank you for asking that. So when I went through my recent breakup, I started to see a therapist, and it was actually something that she suggested. She said, I think you really need to, you're very much in your masculine, you're very like in that energy. And she said, have you ever considered dancing? I said, oh, I used to do dancing. And I was like, oh, actually, one of my friends goes to these dance classes in Sydney. And she said, you should try one. And 100%, I was so nervous of the judgment. And immediately I had people saying things, people telling my ex that I was grinding on the floor or just stupid shit. And I was scared of that judgment. But the way that it makes me feel is I get an hour where I get to fully switch off. Like I do not think about the business or any other stress for an hour. I feel sexy. I feel empowered. I feel incredible. And us now offering that to our members, the feedback that they give us is, oh my God, I didn't think that I would like something like this, but I just feel so good. Thank you so much for putting this on. They show it to their partners. They send it to their friends. Like the girls, they don't post it on their socials, but it's the way that it makes them feel in the moment. And these are women that would have never ever imagined doing something like that. And they're so nervous in the beginning. And then to see the way that it makes them feel, just, it makes me so happy.
Oh, I love that so
Yeah.
much.
I
Get me a
like
little
this-
emotional.
Yeah, I feel like there's something so incredible about like when women can actually lean into their feminine energy. Like I feel like women who own businesses, like it's so much like mask, energy all the time, and then being pulled out of it and like getting into your feminine energy, like something happens like inside.
But especially being in an industry where having a body is shamed. Like I know of a gym in the Newcastle area that shames women for just wearing a bra and shorts to gym.
Really?
Yeah. Because that's not their target market.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Like you're
and
supposed to wear a shirt. And
and it's like why are you
Yeah.
wearing shirts?
Yeah,
and-
but it's like, then you're just shaming. Like it's, what's
yeah.
the aim here?
I guess like when
Your face.
I have a real
like a proper
I'm so
fucking minute.
I have a problem. Like I do not have an inside voice face. Like, and I get in trouble for it. I feel like it gets me in trouble all the time because like I'll be like, oh, I kept cool, and Ash is like, you were literally like,
I was like, should I point it out? Should I point it out?
But it's like, yeah, like, so I'm being shamed for not wanting to wear a shirt so somebody else can feel comfortable wearing a
Yeah.
shirt.
Come on.
Like, That's not inclusive.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it goes
I hate
both
that.
ways. Like,
Yeah.
the women that want to wear a crop top and shorts, they shouldn't feel shame to wear a crop top. Same as the woman that wants to wear an oversized shirt.
I feel like my face is
It
pure
goes against
bafflement. I'm like,
fucking everything.
yeah.
I live on the Gold Coast. This isn't a thing here.
It's weird if someone's in a shirt. No, not weird. I shouldn't say
But
that.
I think like the liberation of a female's body makes people feel uncomfortable. And that's what you're trying to
100%. And like, that's what our brand is all about, is women doing whatever the hell that they want. And so that ties into it. If
Yeah.
they want to dance and feel sexy, they can do it.
I love that. And where do you
Yeah.
guys do the dancing classes?
So there's a studio in Newcastle called CC Choreography, and we just hire the studio and, make up a dance. When we booked the first one, we're like, wait a minute, I've danced before, but I've actually never made up a dance. And we're like in the gym, like, wait a minute, this is a little bit harder, but we did really well.
I can just imagine you and Em being like, what do we do?
Like, what the fuck are we doing? We were like 10 seconds in, we're like, wait, we've done a 10-second routine.
Like, all of a sudden, I've forgotten how to dance.
And we got some road
Yes.
questions for you.
We have
to
some
me.
fun questions that you can provide as much or a little as an answer as you like.
All right.
We've got, there's 3 here, so not too crazy. But, okay, first question is, do you think people are actually telling their truth in day on our plates?
No, I don't really sometimes.
Do you see it and go, you ate way more than that?
100%. Yeah, because I've done it before.
I love that.
Like, some of them are from like multiple days and we put it into one. I reckon that's pretty common. Come on, you do it. I know you do it.
Just like dead in the camera, be like, you. Oh, that's so funny.
Like, I realised one time, like, my nail polish kept changing. Holding it.
You're like, it's the lighting.
Yeah, whatever.
That's
It's
hilarious.
not that deep, honestly.
How often do you think people lie about their steroid use or PEDs use?
In the competing world, probably quite a lot. Yeah.
Do you think, actually, on that, do you think if someone has used any type of PEDs at any point in their life, they cannot claim like any point in time after that they're natural, no matter how long it's been?
Probably not. It doesn't really make sense. Like, well, no, you're not natural. There was a certain period of time that you were taking something and the muscle that you've got is probably contributed from that. So probably not. No.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes we're like, oh no, but that was like 5 years ago. And it's like, well,
Just be honest.
The client we had on wow. I'm
Yesterday.
literally having a stroke. Guest we had on yesterday bought that toffee cup and we were like, oh, that's a good one.
yeah. Is your
I'm strapped in for this one. I'm like holding onto the edge of the seat. What? Why'd you give me a really broke one?
is your coaching business and gym your only source of income?
No, I have OnlyFans as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I
Love.
work as a stripper sometimes as well.
Were you?
Yeah.
When?
Me and Ebony, sorry, Ebony. Sorry, she won't care.
Yeah.
We did a little bit before we went to Europe. And then now it's just like, a little bit of cash.
I love that.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Wait,
It's actually
all
really fun,
about
honestly. Like,
women
so much
liberating.
fun.
So you started, because I know that you were on Sunroom last
Yeah, I
year. When
started-
did you make the switch?
I've noticed that a lot of my followers on Sunroom were female, but I had a small percentage of male followers. But that was where most of my money was coming from, was
Yeah.
the male subscribers. And then I was like, you know what? If I may as well just switch over to OnlyFans. And because I felt that guys would click on the Sunroom link and they would go, oh, I don't know what that is, and they would get rid of it. If you click on OnlyFans,
You know what it is.
Yeah.
With I'm gonna ask some questions because I'm actually quite interested.
yeah, no, give it to me.
What do you enjoy doing it? Like, do you love doing it?
OnlyFans or stripping?
OnlyFans.
I like that it's really easy. Money.
Yeah.
Like, so easy.
And is it good money from OnlyFans?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you give figures or not?
Considering I don't promote it very much. I think
Yeah.
I post it on my story maybe like 3 times, and I take it in and out of my bio because I just wig out about it. It's on, it's off, it's off. But I think every creator who's been on OnlyFans will say this, is your first month is always your biggest month. But I made 11,000 USD in the first month.
Holy
Yeah.
dooly.
Oh my God.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And how much are the subscriptions? Like,
I think mine's $9.99.
but like, do people buy custom?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
That's where that's why I was always so confused when women would say they make this much money, and I'm like calculating. I'm like, but how many subscribers is that? Like, that's
Yeah.
not possible. But once you're on the platform, you realize that it's all just customs. And I don't do
Wow.
everything, guys. I just give a little bit.
I love that. And like, is it because like you love feeling liberated or you're comfortable with your body? Like,
yeah, I have always been really comfortable with my body.
Yeah.
And I think after the breakup, I was like, you know what? Like, I've been, not obviously when you're in a relationship, you suppress a little bit of it. I was like, I'm just happy to be truly me. This is a decision that I want to make and that I'm comfortable with.
Actually, can I ask, have you been on it while you've been in a prep before? Like, have you been in out?
No.
Because I was going to say, like, do you actually notice a difference between like being lean and like being
Yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't been in a prep.
fuller? Because I've actually, I've spoken to a friend before and she's like, I get more attention, like just not
When
because
she's not
like,
lean?
looking, when she's not lean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my friends, Erin, she said the same thing. She's like, I don't really post that much content on there when I'm really lean because it's not the preference.
isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Isn't
hey?
that nice to
Yeah,
know a
it
little
is
bit
nice,
at the
to
same
be
time?
honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that though. But like, you said that you're a little bit iffy about it. Why are you iffy?
Just, I think just there is still a stigma around it. And I think sometimes I get in my head of like, oh, you're a business owner and then you do that. But I'm like, you know what? It kind of ties into the brand really.
Yeah.
In the sense of, like I said before, women doing whatever the hell that they want with their
Who
bodies.
cares if you
Yeah.
do it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's your body at the end of the day. You can use it.
Yeah, and like, you know, we have OnlyFans creators on our podcast and we, you know, we are so supportive of that. So, yeah.
I think in a way it's an important lesson to just, like, it's important for you to speak about because it's like we should be able to do anything without judgment.
100%. And I have been like that my whole life. Is I have been quite good at just doing something that I want to do and people are going to talk about it and they are going to say things. And when I was really young, I used to always try and defend myself or try and, you know, I would get really caught up about it. And now I just genuinely, I have my days, like I said, taking it in and out of my bio, but I've lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Like sometimes you care.
Sometimes I care. But I'm at a point where it's what I want to do and I just do things that I want to do and there's people that are still going to talk about it and
They're going to talk about it no matter what.
literally, yeah.
To be honest, it's kind of a smart business move, especially with like how you've reopened the gym and, you know, you've had to go through that building phase. It's like, cool, I've got income.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, it's just very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, make that bank if you
Yeah.
can.
It's like, you know, one photo or one video and it's like, okay, cool.
Sick.
How hard was that? Compared to running a fucking business?
I love that your shirt's like, I love your shirt too, and it's like, I'm literally just to get up. I was reading it before and I was like, yes, love that.
When you think about it though, like influencing and OF are one of the two industries that females can actually dominate in.
Oh, yeah.
And make a lot of money in that males buy from.
Yeah.
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 So
And the demand is always going to be there. Do you want to take advantage of it or you don't want to take advantage of it?
Yeah.
as I kind of want to ask, like, obviously, when it comes to OF, if someone was listening to this and like they're on the fence and they want to do it, like, would you give any guidelines around reasons for, reasons against?
Yeah. From speaking to friends that have OF, and like I said, you make a lot of money in the beginning, then it is a little bit more work towards, you know, as the months go on. And if you don't have strong boundaries of this is what I'm comfortable with, this is not what I'm comfortable with, you know, as soon as someone subscribes, they always ask me like, oh, do you have boy, girl content? And I don't. And that's something that I will never do. But if you don't have those boundaries, and also if it's your sole source of income, I can imagine how you would start to blur those lines and to make content that you might not have wanted to make in the beginning. So I think if you're doing it from desperation, I would say no, because these guys, they're gonna try and push and push and push.
Get whatever
And
they
you know,
can.
if you need the money, you're gonna do it. So I would take that into consideration. And then also just think about like your family, think about people around. Like I know we just spoke about like not caring what people think, but my family knows and they're supportive, and my sister said, go make that bank, my 16-year-old sister, who I was most worried about. But just think about the people surrounding you. And also I know that I'm probably never going to be employed. I'm always going to run my own business. So I don't have any professional implications. So I think there's just a lot of questions about, your job, your family, your current financial situation, what boundaries do you have, what are you willing to do?
Yeah.
Are your DMs open for any girls if they want to like ask you any questions about
always. it? Yeah, of course. I wouldn't say I'm a professional about it, you can, but
No.
I can give you a little
But
bit
you know,
of
like
advice.
some people, like I just never know who to ask a question.
100%. DMs are always open for any questions.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We have one final question that we ask everyone.
Okay, good.
And it's, where are you currently making moves in your life? It doesn't need to be in business. It can be anywhere.
Going to therapy.
I love that.
Yeah. So that was one of my number one goals this year was to stick to going to therapy, and I only just started. I'm 4 weeks in. But I think, your mindset drives everything in your life. So if I can nurture that and invest time and money into that, it's going to, bleed into all areas of my life.
Amazing.
I love it. So many people are in their healing.
I know.
right now.
It's so amazing. And just to wrap it up, where can people find you? Give yourself a plug.
Yeah.
What are your platforms?
Beautiful. So my Instagram is at Sequoia Stewart, and the gym's Instagram is at Club94. At Club94_.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been so
Thanks for
lovely
having me.
chatting.
Yeah. And thank you to everybody listening. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.